The storm is trying to kill her. Wind tears at Lyra's cloak like furious hands, flinging ice into her eyes, her mouth, her lungs. Every breath burns. Snow swallows the ground beneath her boots, turning rock into betrayal, slick, slanted, waiting for her to fall. She doesn't fall. Not yet. Pain flares along her side, where blood soaks through wool and leather, steaming faintly in the cold. She clamps a hand there, fingers numb, and runs harder. Her heartbeat roars louder than the gale, louder than the crack of ice splitting somewhere behind her. Don't shift. Not here. Not now. Or they'll know I'm more than human. The silver flame stirs anyway. It flickers beneath her skin. Brief, traitorous flashes of light that leak through her veins and pulse against her ribs. The snow around her glows for half a heartbeat, and jagged rocks lighting up in eerie bursts before the storm swallows them again. If her pursuers notice, they give no sign. If the mountain notices, the trees groan. Ancient pines bow and creak, their branches snapping like bones. Ice fractures under Lyra's feet with sharp, echoing cracks, as if the land itself is whispering her name. The air is thick with scent. Wet fur, cold iron, and wolves. Too many. Too close. A howl slices through the storm. Lyra stumbles, catching herself on a boulder glazed with ice. Her vision blurs. Distant shadows move between the trees, low, fast, circling. Not just wolves. Never just wolves. She runs again, lungs screaming, legs shaking, until the ground drops away without warning. She skids to a stop at the edge of a cliff. Beyond it, nothing but darkness, snow-choked air, and the suggestion of a long and final fall. Behind her, snapping branches, glowing eyes, and the certainty that if she's caught, the truth burning inside her will be dragged into the light. Lyra stands there, trembling, silver fire coiling under her skin, the storm howling for her to choose. Run, jump, or become what they fear. The storm shifts, not louder, aware. Lyra feels it before she sees him. The wind tightens, snow spiraling inward, as if pulled by a gravity she can't name. Her silver flame recoils, folding deep beneath her ribs, instinct screaming predator. A shape steps out of the white, tall, broad-shouldered. Still, he doesn't rush, he doesn't search. He stands as if the mountain itself has yielded ground for him, cloak unmoving despite the gale. The wolves' howls falter, break apart, then fall silent. Whatever hunts her knows this presence, and knows better. Lyra stumbles back, boots scraping stone. Pain lances through her side, and she hisses, one hand braced against the ruined wall. Don't, she warns, though she doesn't know what she's warning against, him, herself, or the fire clawing at her bones. His gaze finds her through the storm, sharp, assessing, not kind. Lyra, he says. Her name hits harder than the wind. Her breath stutters. No one has spoken to me in months, not without hatred, not without fear. You shouldn't be here, he continues, voice low, carrying easily over the storm. You're tearing the mountain open with every step. The accusation lands close to truth. The snow at her feet glows faintly, betraying her. She curls her fingers into a fist, forcing the light down. I didn't ask to be followed, she snaps. A shadow lunges from the trees. He moves. One moment he's standing still, the next the air fractures, snow exploding outward as he intercepts the attacker with brutal precision. There's a crack of bone, a snarl cut short. He doesn't kill. He ends it. Drops the body at the tree line like a warning carved in flesh. Lyra's pulse thunders. She should run. She doesn't. He turns back to her, eyes burning now, gold threaded with something darker, older. He inhales, slow and deliberate. Her scent reaches him, and with it, the silver heat under her skin. Jealousy flashes, raw, unhidden. You're bleeding, he says, stepping closer. She bares her teeth. Don't touch me. His hand closes around her arm anyway, firm, unyielding, not cruel, not gentle. Power hums through the contact, answering the fire inside her, and for one terrifying second, the silver flame surges toward him like it recognizes its match. He stills. So it's true, he murmurs. The mountain wasn't lying. Their eyes lock, snow falls between them, suspended, as if the world is holding its breath. Let go, she whispers, fear and something else threading her voice. He doesn't. Instead, he says quietly, if I let you go, they'll tear you apart, and if I keep you... His grip tightens, just enough to make the choice clear. Everything I've built will burn. Behind him, distant howls rise again, closer this time. He meets her gaze, unflinching. Decide, the Alpha says. Run from me now, or stay and survive what's coming. She chooses neither. Lyra pulls free, not fleeing, not surrendering, just enough to reclaim her breath. The Alpha doesn't stop her. That, more than the threat behind them, unsettles her. He turns without another word, moving through the storm, as if it parts by instinct, and after a heartbeat she follows. Not because she trusts him, because the dark at his back feels marginally less hungry than the dark behind her. They travel fast, cutting through ravines and ice-split passes where the wind can't scream as loudly. Her blood leaves a thin trail on the snow. He notices, says nothing. When she stumbles, a hand catches her elbow, steady, brief, gone. Each touch is deliberate restraint, as though he's measuring how close he can stand without setting her alight. The cold pulls memories out of her. She remembers another night thick with snow, the circle of her old pack closing in, torches hissing, faces she knew were twisted by fear. The elders didn't shout. They didn't have to. Their silence was worse. The silver flame had surfaced then too, crawling up her arms, reacting to their hostility like a living thing. Unnatural, they'd said. Too wild. A curse wearing a girl's skin. They bound her before she could shift, branded her dangerous before she could defend herself. When they cast her out, no one met her eyes. Not even the ones who had once sworn to protect her. Especially not the Alpha. Especially not the one who'd looked at her with regret instead of courage. The memory tightens her chest now. She presses her palm to her ribs, forcing the past down with the pain. You don't have to follow, she mutters into the wind. I know, the Alpha replies. That answer isn't reassurance. It's true. It tells her he's choosing this moment by moment, and that terrifies her more than pursuit. They shelter in a narrow cave carved deep into the rock. He starts a fire with practiced ease, flame snapping to life as if it recognizes command. The warmth should comfort her. Instead, it makes the silver fire inside her stir, restless, reactive. She curls in on herself, wary. You're watching me like you expect me to explode, she says. I am, he answers, unflinching. She almost laughs. Almost. Then why bring me here? Because you're bleeding, because you're exhausted, and because whatever you are... His gaze lifts, steady and searching. You're still alone. The words strike deeper than accusation. Loneliness has been her constant companion, heavier than the cold, sharper than fear. She has learned not to lean on anyone who wears a crown or claims authority. Alphas decide who is acceptable, who is disposable. She meets his eyes, waiting for judgment. It doesn't come. Instead, there's something harder to bear, recognition, as if he sees not just the power she hides, but the cost of carrying it. Her pulse stutters. The silver flame settles, quieting despite her distrust. She hates that something about him disarms her defenses. Hates that, for the first time since her exile, the fire inside her doesn't feel like it wants to burn everything down, only to be seen and survived. The mountain releases them just before dawn. The storm thins, wind loosening its grip as they descend into a hollow where the snow lies untouched, smooth as a held breath, Lyra feels it the moment her boots cross the threshold. An invisible pressure settling over her skin, not hostile, not welcoming, simply aware. The silver flame stirs, not flaring this time, but rising slow and reverent, as if remembering something older than fear. The alpha stops. So does she. Before them, the trees part into a wide circular grove carved into the mountain's heart. Stone pillars lean inward, etched with symbols worn soft by centuries of weather and worship. At the center stands a moon altar, pale and veined with silver ore, its surface marked by shallow grooves that spiral like fingerprints. No snow clings to it. The air hums, low, resonant, alive. No, Lyra breathes. Her pulse spikes. Every instinct screams retreat. Sacred places have never been safe for her. They are where judgments are made, where monsters are named. She takes one step back. The ground answers. Light ripples through the carvings, faint at first, then stronger. Threads of silver waking beneath stone. The symbols ignite in sequence, and responding to her presence as if she has spoken a language the mountain has been waiting to hear. Heat blooms under her skin, not violent, purposeful. The alpha turns slowly, awe breaking through his restraint. "You feel it too," he says. "I don't want this," she snaps, though her voice shakes. "I didn't ask for signs or stories or—" She gestures helplessly at the altar, at the glowing stone, at the truth pressing in from all sides. Myths that get people killed. The silver flame surges at her wrist, crawling up her forearm in a living script. She clamps her hand around it, shame flooding in fast and familiar. Images crash through her mind. Elders standing where she now stands, voices layered over one another. The one with the mark, the child of the flame. A balance is broken, a power meant to end a war, or begin one. She sees fire spilling across snow, sees wolves bowing or burning, sees herself at the center of it all, expression unreadable even to her. She staggers, breath coming hard. "They always say destiny like it's a gift," she whispers, "like it doesn't hollow you out." The alpha is beside her now, not touching, not crowding, simply present. "Prophecies don't choose monsters," he says quietly. Her laugh is sharp, bitter. That's exactly what they choose. She looks at the altar again, at how eagerly it answers her, how the mountain seems to lean closer. The fear isn't of power anymore. It has meaning, of being reduced to a purpose she cannot refuse, of becoming the very thing her pack feared, something too much to be loved, too dangerous to be allowed. "I won't be their balance," Lyra says, voice low and fierce. "I won't be their destruction either." The light holds, steady and patient, as if listening, and somewhere deep beneath the stone, something ancient shifts, unwilling to let her turn away so easily. The first howl cuts through the grove like a blade, not wild, not feral, commanded. Lyra feels it ripple through the altar beneath her feet, a shudder that fractures the silver glow. The symbols flicker, stutter, then dim, as if smothered by something colder than snow. The air thickens, pressure slamming into her chest. The mountain's reverence collapses into warning. The alpha moves instantly, stepping in front of her without looking back. His posture shifts, no longer a guide, no longer an observer, a ruler bracing for war. They emerge from the trees in disciplined silence, wolves first, fanning out to encircle the grove. Then the man who leads them, tall, scarred, his presence sharp with challenge. His eyes cut to Lyra, lingering with open disdain, then locked onto the alpha with something darker than rivalry. "Bringing her here was a mistake," the rival alpha says, voice echoing off stone. "You woke up to what should have stayed buried." Shadows peel away from the edges of the grove as he speaks. Not wolves, not fully. Shapes stitched from smoke and bone, eyes burning dull red, moving with a hunger that has learned patience. Lyra's silver flame recoils, flaring in protest, recognizing an enemy older than flesh. She doesn't belong to you, one of the pack snarls. She doesn't belong anywhere. The words land like stones. Lyra stiffens, forcing herself not to shrink. She has heard this verdict before. Spoken with different mouths, the same fear. The rival alpha raises a hand. The shadow beasts surge forward. The grove erupts. The alpha meets the first charge head-on, power rolling off him in a concussive wave that shatters frost from stone. Wolves clash, snarls tearing through the air. Lyra backs toward the altar, heart hammering, the silver flame clawing for release as shadows close in. "Don't!" The alpha snaps over his shoulder, sensing her shift. "Not here." She grits her teeth, holding it back as one of the creatures lunges too close, its form unraveling at the edges when it brushes her aura. A murmur ripples through the pack. "She's unstable," someone shouts. "You feel that? She'll tear us apart." The rival alpha steps closer, voice smooth, poisonous. "This is what the prophecy warned us about. Power without restraint. Let her leave, or finish this now." The alpha hesitates. Just a fraction, just long enough. "Choose your people," the rival alpha presses, "or choose her." Silence crashes down, heavy and absolute. Lyra feels it then, not the threat of attack, but the weight of decision. She meets the alpha's gaze, searching for certainty, for defiance, for anything that says she isn't alone in this moment. What she finds is conflict. Fury held in check, duty straining against desire. It's enough. "Don't," she says quietly, stepping back. "Don't make this about saving me." His jaw tightens. "Lyra." "Send me away," she finishes, voice steady despite the fracture spreading through her chest. "Before they force you to." The rival alpha smiles. The grove seems to hold its breath as Lyra turns, walking out of the sacred circle on her own. Each step feels like tearing something loose inside her. She doesn't look back. And if she does, she might see regret, or worse, relief. Behind her, the silver symbols fade completely. Ahead of her, the mountain opens into shadow. As she disappears into the trees, Lyra makes herself a promise, sharp, unyielding. If the world insists on fighting her, she will learn how to fight back. Night folds around Lyra like a second skin. She doesn't know how long she runs, only that the forest thins, the ground steepens, and exhaustion finally drags her to a halt beneath an overhang of black stone. A shallow cave yawns before her, barely wide enough to shelter one body. She slips inside and sinks to the ground, breath shaking, hands trembling as the silver flame finally ebbs into a dull ache beneath her ribs. Pain seeps in where adrenaline leaves. She presses cloth to her side, jaw clenched, refusing to let herself make a sound. And this is what survival has taught her. Endure quietly, trust no one, leave no trace. Firelight flickers at the cave mouth. She jerks upright, flame flaring and reflects. But the alpha steps into view slowly, palms open, dominance stripped bare in the gesture. He stops just inside the threshold, letting the shadows keep half his face hidden. "You shouldn't have followed me," she says. "I know." Again the same answer. Chosen, not justified. He kneels across from her, close enough that she feels his warmth, but not so close that he corners her. He tends the fire first, coaxing it low and steady, then reaches for her wound without asking. She tenses, then lets him. His touch is careful now, reverent, as if he understands how easily she could break, or burn. "I didn't hesitate because I doubted you," he says quietly. "I hesitated because I've watched packs tear themselves apart over fear." She doesn't look at him. "You still let me walk away." "Yes." His voice roughens. "Because forcing you to stay would have made me no better than them." The honesty lands heavy between them. The moon rises while he works, silver light spilling into the cave, painting her skin in pale fire. When he finishes, he sits back, shoulders bowed under a weight she recognizes too well. "I had a mate once," he says. "She believed in me before I wore the crown. When the challenge came, my pack chose power over loyalty." His mouth tightens. She died for it. Lyra finally meets his eyes, sees the scar that grief carved there. The crown he never wanted, the authority that isolated him as surely as her flame isolated her. "They call me strong," he continues, "but strength is mostly endurance, holding what you love until it's taken from you. Silent stretches, soft, fragile." "My fear," Lyra says at last, voice barely above the crackle of flame, "is that one day I won't stop it, that the fire will decide for me, and when it does, there won't be anything left of the girl who tried to be good." He leans closer, close enough that her breath catches, close enough that the silver flame stirs without panic. His forehead brushes hers, not claiming, not talking. "I see you," he murmurs. "All of you." For a heartbeat, the world narrows to heat and breath, and the almost of a kiss. Then she pulls back, shaking, not ready, not yet. Outside, the moon watches. Inside the cave, something fragile and fierce takes root. Trust, earned not by promises, but by restraint. And then neither of them notices how briefly the fire flickers, as if the night itself is listening. Dawn does not arrive gently. It breaks over the mountain with the sound of horns, low, ritual-bound, echoing through stone and bone alike. Lyra wakes with the silver flame clawing awake beneath her skin, restless, agitated, as if it sensed the trap before her mind could name it. The Alpha is already on his feet, tense, listening. "They've called the council," he says. "Not anger, not fear. Something worse, resignation." She sits up slowly. "They know." "Yes." He doesn't soften it, don't lie. That, almost more than anything, hurts. They descend together into the open circle carved into the lower valley, where stone thrones rise from the earth like broken teeth. Wolves line the perimeter, dozens of them, ranks too neat, stairs too sharp. The rival Alpha stands among the elders now, confidence worn openly, satisfaction poorly hidden. Lyra feels every gaze slice into her, whispers ripple outward as the silver flame reacts to proximity, threading faint light through her veins. There is no hiding it now. Not after the shrine. Not after the cave. Recognition sparks in too many eyes. "The child of the flame," an elder murmurs, voice trembling with awe or fear. The rival Alpha steps forward before the reverence can settle. "Or the end of us all." The words crack like a whip. He raises his voice, weaving truth and poison together with practiced ease. He speaks of ancient wars, of kingdoms burned to ash, of prophecies that end in blood. He does not lie. He simply chooses which parts to sharpen. "Her power does not bring balance," he declares. "It demands it. And we will bear the cost." The council stirs. Doubt spreads fast when fear feeds it. Lyra looks to the Alpha. For a moment, just one, he doesn't move. The hesitation is small. Humans. Fatal. The rival Alpha smiles and presses in. "You've already lost one mate to weakness. Will you lose your people too?" The silver flame explodes outward. Not fully. Not yet. But enough. Light fractures the air, silver fire rippling across the stone circle in a shockwave that sends wolves staggering back. The ground splits in thin glowing lines beneath Lyra's feet. Her breath comes fast, eyes burning, the monster they feared rising to the surface at last. "Stop calling me a future you can control," she says, voice carrying unnaturally far. "I am not your warning. I am not your weapon." "See?" the rival Alpha shouts. She can't contain it. The council recoils. That's when Lyra understands. There is no defense left. No explanation that will survive their terror. No love powerful enough to outweigh the story, they have chosen. She turns to the Alpha one last time. This time he moves. He steps toward her, defiance blazing, authority roaring to life in his chest, but it's too late. The decision has already carved itself into her bones. "Don't," she says softly, not pleading, protecting him from what choosing her would cost. Then she runs. The silver flame tears free as she does, ripping through restraint, flooding her veins with unbearable clarity. Behind her, shouts erupt, orders, fear, fury. Above it all, the rival Alpha's voice rings out, victorious. "Let her go. She'll prove us right." Lyra vanishes into the forest, empower blazing like a second sun beneath her skin, heartbreaking with every step. And in the stone circle she leaves behind, something sacred cracks beyond repair. The mountain screams. Not in fear, in warning. The night fractures as Lyra returns, no longer running, no longer broken by doubt. She steps out of the tree line while chaos tears through the valley below. Firelight and blood stain the snow. The council circle burns. Shadow beasts crawl from rifts split into the earth, their forms half-made, fed by panic and betrayal. This is what fear summons. Wolves scatter. Elders shout commands no one obeys. The rival Alpha stands at the center of it all, arms raised, eyes bright with triumph as the ritual spirals out of control. Power surges through the stone like a sickness, devouring the balance it was never meant to hold. Lyra feels it tug at her flame, calling, claiming. She answers. The silver fire no longer fights her. It rises with her breath, floods her veins without pain, without restraint. Her fear burns away first, then her shame. She steps forward, and the ground trembles beneath her bare feet as light spills from her skin, pure and blinding. Every howl dies mid-cry. The shadow beasts recoil, shrieking as the flame scorches their edges into nothing. The air vibrates, ancient and alive, as voices stir beneath the mountain, low, resonant, layered with memory. The ancestors awakened. Stone pillars crack open, veins of silver blazing as figures of light rise from the earth itself. Wolves wrought of flame and starlight, eyes burning with judgment older than crowns. The prophecy does not whisper now. It stands. Lyra lifts her head. "I am not your sacrifice," she says, her voice carrying like thunder across the valley. "I am not the cost of your fear." The rival Alpha stumbles back, rage twisting into disbelief. "You'll destroy everything." "No," Lyra answers, stepping closer as the earth splits with each footfall. "You already did." The silver flame erupts outward, a living tide, encircling the council without touching them. Control honed sharp as a blade. Snow evaporates, stone melts, then reforms. The mountain bows, not in submission, but in recognition. The Alpha appears at the edge of the light, eyes wide, breath stolen as he witnesses what she has become, not a monster, not a weapon. A force aligned at last with her own will. Lyra turns to the rival Alpha, power coiled and absolute. "This ends now," she says. The flames surge, and the world holds its breath. Because balance has finally chosen its bearer. The fire has settled, but the warmth is only skin deep. Around her, the valley is quiet in the aftermath, though the echoes of chaos still cling to the stones and the air. Wolves linger at the edges of the light, tense and uncertain, their ears twitching at every crack of ice or shifting branch. Even the trees seem to hold their breath, bowed and silent, watching her as though they understand she has changed something fundamental in the world. Lyra stands alone at the center of it all, silver flame dimmed now, yet still pulsing faintly beneath her skin like a heartbeat that refuses to lie down. She feels the weight of eyes, pack, council, enemy, all of them measuring, judging, fearing, hoping. And beneath that, she feels the unspoken question that has always haunted her. Am I enough? Can I survive the fire that lives in me without burning everything I love? The Alpha steps into the circle of light, his shadow stretching long across the snow-streaked ground. He does not speak yet, but his presence is a tether, a grounding force in the storm of expectation and fear that surrounds her. His eyes are open, wide, searching, but also warning. There is pride, there is longing, but there is fear too. Fear of what she might choose, fear of what the world will choose for her. Lyra breathes, slow and deliberate, and for the first time, she sees the choice in front of her, and the choice facing everyone else. Will they stand with her? Will they trust what they do not fully understand? Would you, listening now, choose her or turn away in terror? Could you love someone whose power is too vast to tame, whose fire cannot be dimmed for your comfort? Her gaze lifts toward the moon, silver light spilling across her face, reflecting the fire in her veins. Hero? Monster? Girl cursed with too much flame? Perhaps all of it, perhaps none. Perhaps the truth is something only she can define. And in that quiet, tense pause, the story holds you, just as it holds her. The ground has stilled, the wolves are still, the world waits. And you must decide, even in silence, whose side would you be on? If this story lit something inside you, subscribe to Wide Moon Narratives. Because here, we tell tales that burn. The night is still, but it is not peaceful. The snow settles quietly over shattered stone and scorched earth, soft and deceptive, as if covering the traces of what has happened, but the world remembers. Lyra stands at the edge of the clearing, chest rising and falling, breath misting in the frozen air. Her hands are slick with sweat and frost, the warmth of her silver flame lingering beneath her skin like a secret pulse. She does not move, does not speak. She is exhausted, yet every nerve hums with a tension that will not release. Around her, the Alpha watches, silent, a shadow among shadows, but even he cannot claim control over the trembling land beneath their feet. The earth shifts, subtle at first, then sharper, as if the planet itself is reacting to the echo of her power. Roots groan, stones crack, and somewhere far off, a wolf howls, a cry torn between warning and mourning. The trembling spreads outward, and a heartbeat that carries a message no one alive can ignore. Nothing is finished, nothing is settled, and the consequences of this wildfire are only beginning. Lyra senses it in her bones. The pulse of the earth, the whisper in the wind, the weight of destiny pressing down in shapes she cannot yet name. Her silver flame flickers faintly, a reminder that power is never neutral. It chooses, it tests, it waits. And she is not alone in this. She feels it first as a shadow at the corner of her vision, a presence unseen, yet undeniably there. A voice, low and serpentine, barely more than a breath, drifts through the forest like smoke curling through the snow. She is not the only one. The words hang, heavier than any snow-laden branch. They speak of rivals hidden in darkness, of others whose hunger for power mirrors her own, son of dangers that will not wait for her to recover. They are a warning, a promise, a challenge all at once. And Lyra feels the thrill of anticipation mixed with the fear twisting her stomach. The story is not done, not by far. The Alpha steps closer, his hand brushing hers, not claiming, not restraining, just offering steady presence. And she realizes that even in the face of what comes next, they will face it together. Yet the world beyond their gaze stirs, alive with secrets and shadows. Somewhere, another fire waits. Another heart beats with jealousy, with ambition, with rage, and it will not rest until it has been tested against hers. Lyra exhales, cold air spilling from her lungs, eyes narrowing toward the horizon, where the forest swallows the moonlight. She cannot see the threat yet, cannot name it, and cannot predict the shape of the storm, but she knows it is coming. She knows that she will rise, and she knows, with the unmistakable clarity of silver fire beneath her skin, that her story is far from over. The ground shudders again, faint at first, then like a warning drum, as if the earth itself is echoing the whisper she cannot yet ignore. The camera of thought lingers on the tremor, on the still-burning fire within her, on the Alpha's unwavering gaze. Somewhere beyond the snow, beyond the shadows, a new danger watches, and the first words it speaks are already written in prophecy. She is not the only one, and the true Alpha hasn't risen. Yet. The forest exhales, the wind holds its breath, and somewhere deep in the night, the echoes of silver flame promise that the story, and the battle for hearts, fire, and kingdoms, has only just begun. Lyra stands atop the frost-coated cliff, the wind tugging at her hair, the silver flame beneath her skin a quiet, steady pulse. Around her, the forest is still, the snow settling like a fragile veil over the chaos that has passed. The battle has ended, but the scars remain, not just on the land, but on hearts, on trust, on the fragile threads of destiny that bind her to the Alpha, to the pack, to the prophecy she cannot ignore. The Alpha steps beside her, silent but unyielding, a pillar of strength she had once feared to rely upon. His eyes, fierce and conflicted, meet hers, and in that moment there is no need for words. They have survived betrayal, fire, and the jealousy that sought to tear their world apart. And yet, they know the trials are far from over. Power, love, and loyalty are never simple in a realm where hearts beat alongside wolves, where fire burns inside blood, and where prophecy watches with unblinking eyes. Lyra exhales, letting the tension leave her shoulders. She has changed, stronger, wiser. And finally, she allows herself to hope. Not a naive hope, but a fierce, defiant one, the kind that can reshape kingdoms, challenge destiny, and ignite hearts. The Alpha's hand brushes hers, a promise unspoken. Together, they will face whatever storms are yet to come. And in the distance, beneath the silver glow of the moon, the faintest tremor stirs the ground, a whisper of the dangers that still linger. Lyra smiles, a mixture of determination and fire in her eyes. She is no longer a girl who runs from her power. She is its master, she is its protector, she is its flame. The night stretches wide, cold and vast, but in it, she finds her place, strong, unbroken, and ready. The story of love, jealousy, and power is far from over. And as the first light of dawn touches the snow, one thing is certain. Lyra will rise, and those who dared to fear her will learn that fire cannot be caged,